Hi guys, it's Killer J and
Phantom.
today we're gonna be doing a little video on Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you got a lot of good selection here. This is a Street Fighter 2 re-released in HD. Yes, this game is in HD quality, and you got the characters from Street Fighter 2 and all other such. This game was let me see. It was a game that you could buy off PSN and Xbox back in the day, and Capcom released this on a disc, which is pretty good.
Yeah, so the first time I played this game, it was when I first bought my Xbox, and it was one of the demos that came on the Xbox. And I tried it a few times, and I noticed it was hard as fuck. This one is a lot harder than any of the newer ones, I'll tell you that. You can get killed in a couple punches in this one if you're not careful.
And as you see right now, I'm playing on medium difficulty, and I'm stuck in right now. You see Blanca there trying to eat my face like a bat salt zombie. Anyway, the gameplay is pretty good for a good Street Fighter game, but it takes lots of mastering to get the special moves, the Hadokens, and all that crazy maneuvers, and Chun-Li's spin there, where all that crazy stuff. And you also, you got the arcade mode and HD remix. You got, I'm pretty sure you can play two players like any other fighting game. You play two-player people. You go one-on-one with your friend, and you have a battle.
Yeah. So it's pretty much your basic fighter, but this is definitely old school. It's kind of some of the foundations of what is now a modern fighter, minus of the skill, of course, because they're really trying to appeal to a more general audience. But you can definitely see that this is really a modernized version of the original game. You can definitely see certain little tweaks. Obviously, they had to format it for a modern controller, which is very different than anything you would have played it on back in the day. What was it, Neo Geo?
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so a lot more buttons, so they try to map it out a little bit, but you can feel that it's definitely made for an arcade stick.
Yeah, like an arcade stick, like the arcades back in the day. This was like made for it there. As I can tell, this game, you got some good stuff about it, and there's like, a lot of things. There's like Street Fighter, but this ain't this ain't Street Fighter 4. This is like the old school, similar to the old school Street Fighters, just modernized with better graphics. Because I played you see there, I unlocked the Chismo. Anyway, the Street Fighter that I had on the Sega Genesis, the fucking sound like shit, like the guy sound like a robot. So here you can sound clear, but Sega Genesis will admit back to its days. And anyway, this is kind of off topic there a little bit.
Whatever.
That Capcom, this is when and surprised this game does not have any DLC, because Capcom always pulls that tactic. And you always pull that on disc DLC on disc, and there's supposed to be more characters in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which you have to pay like $180 for stuff like that.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, this game, it is the HD Turbo Remix released many years later, so it is kind of a Capcom's DLC fiasco they like to pull, constantly making you pay more money for things. Although I usually wait a few years and get a bundle of it. This game is, it's in its own way, it's old school bundle. I mean, it's kind of it's something to really lure you out to play the newer Street Fighters, which it kind of did for me. I wasn't really a Street Fighter guy until I started playing the older ones like this. And this one is very addictive, as hard as it is. It's better for co-op, though, I'll tell you that. And
the sound and audio is pretty good for a game. You got some good quality sound. You can hear the hits, the freaking smacks, the effects, and the music audio is pretty good. The music there, I don't say this usually that often. Music in this game gets you pumped, gets you ready for the battle as against your enemy. And there's tough situations where you have to fight your enemy, and make sure you have to be strategic to defeat your enemy, because the enemies are not easy to go down in this game. Fei Long is a tough cookie, or a tough bastard. He's tough, but he's modeled after Bruce Lee, as you can tell, because that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I will definitely agree on that, and I'd like to talk about the music myself. This one is an arcade score, and it's very 8-bitty, 16-bitty, I guess, electronic, and it is very familiar, and it does kind of get you ready for the battle. As opposed to Street Fighter 4, I don't really like the music in New Street Fighter 4. It doesn't really get you pumped up for anything. It's kind of modern and mainstream. it doesn't give you the same feel as an 8-bit music score does for you. Kind of makes you feel nostalgic and retro, and at the same time, it kind of really makes you appreciate the fact that you can have a game this influential to the fighting genre that's still very, very 2D graphic, almost non-existent, no really 3D effects to speak of, even in an HD remix, and it really shines through.
Okay, yeah. Street Fighter, get this game, love it, and play it. For old school retro fans that like games like this is a perfect game for you. You like Street Fighter, you like playing the... Yeah, I can see. Yeah, you can see some gameplay, and there's pretty good this is a pretty, you know, a little... And yes, there's good characters. I'm like good with Vega. I'm not bragging that I'm the best or anything like that, you know. You know, you got a game like this there. It's different from the fighting game market there, because nowadays there's like some decent, there's fighting games there that didn't make a big impact like in the 90s, like the arcades machines back in then. When it started getting really popular, it friggin' blew for the roof. Mortal Kombat, a lot of games were friggin' skyrocketing, and Street Fighter was there following it, catching up there. Street Fighter was another popular one. Mortal Kombat 2 was like the best seller of Mortal Kombat, and after what Mortal Kombat 3 they kind of fucked it up a little bit. And Street Fighter was still kicking. Street Fighter was, you know, taking names, but Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo was a good transition. It was a good Street Fighter. And yes, a little bit of arcade history thrown into our RMG review, try to give you a little bit of arcade. And yes, me and Warpat one time, we played an arcade machine. It was a King of Fighters arcade machine. And nowadays, arcade machines now are rare and scarce. For this game, I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, this game, in my opinion, it definitely could use a lot of room for improvement in the HD remix of it. It sticks very true to the original though, and it really finalizes its genre. I'd give this game an 8 out of 10. Pretty good.
Yep.
Phantom.
And Killer J and RMG, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for this shit to go.
Boop.
Beep, bloop, bloop.